I've spent most of my adult life being my family's personal Swiss Army knife. Need someone to babysit your toddler at 7 a.m.? That's me. Broken sink? Call me. Forget the Wi-Fi password or can't figure out how to book a hotel room? Guess who gets a 3-hour tutorial over FaceTime while you're sipping margaritas on the couch? Honestly, I used to joke that if my parents put me on their taxes as a dependent for services rendered, I'd finally be a millionaire. It's subtle at first. The invitations come with a wink and a casual, "Oh, can you just keep an eye on the kids while we unpack?" Or, "It won't be a big deal, just a couple hours each day." And somehow, those couple hours always stretch into full mornings, afternoons, and the occasional emergency midnight diaper change. I've missed flights, concerts, and even a cousin's wedding because I was the default babysitter/handyman hybrid. The pattern started back in college. Mom would call, "Hey, can you drive over and help Dad move that couch? He can't lift it." 3 hours later, I'd be cursing in a dusty storage unit while my siblings lounged with smoothies. It didn't matter that I had a full-time job or my own plans. If the family needed me, I was on call. And honestly, I resented it, but I also hated confrontation. My dad would sigh like I was letting him down if I tried to say no. My mom would send that thinly veiled, guilt-laden text, "We really hoped you could come. It's just not the same without you." By the time I hit 32, I had realized something. This wasn't love or closeness. It was exploitation with a sprinkle of charm. And the annual family vacation had become the perfect trap. Every summer, they'd pick some overpriced resort in the middle of nowhere, my siblings and their partners would tag along, and somehow I'd end up in the corner of the hotel room shushing toddlers, assembling travel cribs, or cooking pancake breakfasts in a rental kitchen that smelled vaguely of bleach and sunscreen. Last year was the tipping point. I spent 5 days straight managing my niece and nephew while my sister lounged by the pool, posting pictures on Instagram with captions like, "Family time is everything." Meanwhile, I was the guy everyone texted with emergencies like, "Jimmy won't eat his veggies," or "Can you untangle the pool float?" I came back home exhausted, sunburned on one side of my face, and honestly, a little bitter. So this year, when my parents called me up in early March, I knew I had to do something radical. Mom's voice was sunny, unsuspecting, and slightly manipulative as usual. "Hey, sweetie, so we're thinking about Myrtle Beach again this summer. You have to come. Your sister is planning something fun for the kids." I inhaled sharply, holding back a sigh that could have registered on the Richter scale. For a second, I just let her talk, listening to the waves of entitlement crashing through the phone line. "Oh, and we thought you could just bunk with us. Save some money. Oh, and of course, you'd help with the little ones, just the mornings." Something in me snapped, like a cheap suitcase handle under too much weight. My voice came out firmer than I expected. "Mom, I think I'm going to pass on this one. I'm actually taking real vacation this year, where I don't have to be the babysitter and handyman." There was silence, then a sharp intake of breath. "Oh, well, we really thought you'd want to." "Mom, I mean it. I'm booking my own hotel, and I'm not watching kids. Full stop." I hung up before she could try the guilt trip again. My chest was racing. Freedom tasted like mint gum and overpriced coffee from the gas station on the way home. But I also knew I'd just lit the fuse on a summer-long family fireworks display. That's the thing about breaking patterns. You realize the world isn't going to be neat or quiet. Sometimes it screams at you from group texts, family group chats, and social media. And boy, was I about to find out just how loud it could get. 2 weeks after that phone call, I finally booked my hotel. Not a shared room, not a guest room in my parents' rental, my own tiny ocean view studio, complete with a mini fridge, a balcony that smelled faintly of sunscreen and salt, and one gloriously untouched king-sized bed. I even splurged on one of those cheap but charming Myrtle Beach local artisan keychains, a little wooden crab that squeaked when I pressed it. I don't know why I bought it, but it felt symbolic. Tiny, resilient, mine. Then came the group text. The family group chat, the digital battlefield where subtlety goes to die. Mom, "So, you're really not coming with us?" Sister, "Oh my God, you can't seriously expect me to handle the kids all week." Dad, "We'll miss you, but okay, hope you enjoy your trip." Brother, "Wow, cool, so you just ghosting us now?" I typed my reply carefully, savoring the small rebellion. Me, "Yup, booking my own room. No babysitting, no handyman stuff, just me, the beach, and maybe an overpriced cocktail or two. Don't worry, I'll send postcards. The messages blew up like someone had lit a digital fuse. Sister responded almost immediately. Sister, you're literally the worst. Can you at least be nice for like 1 week? I didn't reply. I leaned back in my chair, listening to the hum of my apartment AC, the faint buzz of a neighbor's lawnmower drifting through the window, and for the first time in years, felt a tiny flicker of, I don't have to do this. Then came the call. My mom, practically vibrating with anxiety over the line, tried to reason with me. Sweetie, it's not fair to just abandon everyone. We've always counted on you. I took a sip of my coffee, bitter enough to match my tone. Mom, I'm not abandoning anyone. I'm taking care of myself. You want someone to handle the kids? That's your problem, not mine. The silence on the other end lasted long enough for her to collect herself. Well, we'll see. We really hoped. Mom, I interrupted gently. I'll see you after the trip, but not before. I've got my own plans. And just like that, I hung up. It felt liberating, like stepping off a treadmill I didn't even realize I'd been running on. But it also felt dangerous, because I knew the backlash wasn't over. My family thrives on public opinion, especially when social media is involved. By the next day, my decision had already gone viral in the family's private Instagram circle. My sister posted a passive-aggressive story with a caption like, "Some people just can't handle family. #selfish much." I didn't comment. I just screenshotted it. It felt almost ceremonial. I'd crossed a line in their eyes, and now the fireworks were officially scheduled. That night, I sat on my balcony, listening to the ocean waves clashing against the shore, smelling faint salt and fried seafood from the nearby boardwalk, and thought, well, this is it. Let's see what they do. The strange thing was, it didn't feel like guilt or regret. It felt electric, like standing on the edge of something I couldn't yet see, but finally choosing to jump. Because for the first time, the vacation, my vacation, was mine. By the time the first weekend of July rolled around, Myrtle Beach had turned into a sweltering mess of tourists, sunscreen smells, and the faintly sour tang of boardwalk fried food. I checked into my little studio, unloaded my bag, and breathed in that salty, slightly sticky summer air. Freedom, it turns out, smells like sunscreen, coffee from the hotel lobby, and the faint scent of other people's wet towels drying in the hallway. Then my phone started buzzing. Constantly. Group texts, DMs, calls I ignored for a while until the sheer persistence forced me to look. Sister, text, you are impossible. This is your family. The kids are miserable and it's your fault. Mom, call, frantic. Sweetie, can you come over for a few hours? We're all stressed. Dad, DM, everyone's upset. Are you sure you can't just come for dinner? I tried to ignore it, but curiosity and a little guilty pleasure made me check Instagram. There it was, a collage of family photos, all smiling faces, except for the text over the top in bright pink Comic Sans that read, "When family abandons the ship, sad face, #selfish brother." I stared at the screen, then laughed so hard I almost spilled my iced coffee. The kids were fine. My sister was fine. They were at the pool, throwing popcorn at each other like tiny war criminals. And yet, here I was being cast as the villain. Later that evening, I got a call from my cousin Mark, who had been roped into babysitting because I wasn't around. Dude, they're losing it. My feed's full of your sister whining. People are starting to comment, "Why doesn't he help?" stuff. You okay over there? Yeah, I'm fine, I said, leaning back in the uncomfortable plastic hotel chair. You want to know what's really funny? I haven't even had to touch a kid yet. Mark laughed. Dude, enjoy the chaos. It's like a soap opera out here. But the real escalation came when my sister showed up at the hotel lobby. I was sipping a cold soda, watching the elevators ping up and down, when she stormed in, hands on her hips, sunglasses sliding down her nose. "Are you serious?" she demanded. Her voice carried like a drill across the polished marble. "We're just ignoring everything. The kids need you." I leaned back, smiling. Actually, they seem to be thriving. You're doing fine. Everyone's fine. Me? I'm on vacation. She scoffed, muttering something about ungrateful under her breath. And then, just as I was about to turn away, she held up her phone and said, loud enough for everyone nearby to hear, I'm posting this so everyone knows what kind of brother you are. I didn't flinch. I just waved my soda in a small salute and said, go ahead, make sure you get the good lighting. I hear hashtags boost engagement. By the next morning, a few family friends had commented on her story, some defending me, some agreeing with her, some tagging me just to watch the fireworks. It was absurd. The hotel smelled faintly of waffles from the breakfast buffet, ocean salt, and lingering suntan lotion. And I sat on my balcony, listening to the chaos below, thinking, I'm not doing anything wrong. This is insane. And it was, but it was also cathartic. Every angry text, every passive-aggressive post, every dramatic gasp on social media just confirmed I'd finally drawn a line. They couldn't treat me like free labor anymore. I didn't have to, and for the first time in years, that felt incredible. By midweek, Myrtle Beach had fully settled into its sticky, sun-soaked rhythm. The hotel elevator smelled faintly of sunscreen, wet towels, and the faintly chemical scent of cleaning spray. The boardwalk outside buzzed with the calls of street performers, the clatter of arcade machines, and the sharp smell of funnel cakes frying somewhere close by. I'd spent the morning walking along the beach, toes in the hot sand, the ocean foam fizzing around my ankles, savoring my independence. For the first time in years, I had zero obligations. That evening, though, the confrontation I'd been dreading finally came. My family somehow tracked me down to a casual beachfront diner. I was nursing a diet soda and the plate of fries that were too salty but perfect in their crunchy comfort when the door swung open. And there they were. Mom, Dad, sister, and even my nephew holding a half-melted ice cream cone like a peace offering. Seriously? My sister said, her voice just loud enough to carry over the clatter of utensils and the sizzle from the open kitchen. You couldn't even try to help? We've been stressed out all week. I set down my fork, resting my elbows on the table. Try what? To be your unpaid nanny/handyman for a week while you post passive-aggressive Instagram stories about me? No thanks, I'm on vacation. Mom's eyes narrowed. But your family, we've always counted on you. It's just a week, can't you compromise? I leaned back, letting the vinyl chair creak under me. Mom, compromise? Every year it's the same story. I come, I babysit, I fix things, I get exhausted. And for what? Recognition? Gratitude? Nope. Just guilt if I don't. Not this time. My sister groaned, throwing her hands in the air. You're literally impossible. Look, even Jimmy. She gestured toward my nephew, who was still happily dipping his fries in ketchup. He misses you. I looked down at Jimmy. He didn't care. He was perfectly happy being chased by his older cousins and diving into a bucket of fries with no supervision. See? He's fine. Everyone's fine. Except you, I said, nodding at my sister. Apparently. The diner fell silent for a moment. I could smell the grease from the kitchen, the faint salt of the sea air drifting in through the open windows, and the lingering sweetness of melted ice cream on the table. Then my dad spoke, quietly this time. You know, maybe we've been asking too much. Mom's shoulders slumped. Maybe. We didn't realize. I leaned forward, softening slightly. It's not about me being selfish. It's about boundaries. I love you all, but I'm not your free labor. And if you want me in your life, I need to be treated like, an actual person, not a combination babysitter, handyman, ATM. Sister crossed her arms, pouting, but she didn't argue. She just muttered, fine, whatever. But even in her sulk, there was a shift. The first hint that maybe, just maybe, she understood. By the time we left the diner, the tension had eased enough that Mom suggested a family walk along the beach. We didn't hold hands or share deep bonding moments, but for the first time in years, I didn't feel resentful, and neither did they. I realized freedom doesn't always need fanfare. It just needs honesty. After that diner showdown, things actually settled into a surprisingly normal rhythm. Myrtle Beach felt quieter somehow. My hotel balcony, with its peeling paint and faint smell of chlorine from the pool below, became my sanctuary. I watched seagulls wheel over the boardwalk, listened to the distant scream of kids playing arcade games, and felt a little glow of victory every time I sipped my overpriced cocktail without interruption. Family dynamics didn't change overnight, but there was a subtle shift. My parents stopped assuming I would drop everything. My sister begrudgingly realized she could handle the kids for a few hours without my intervention. Even my brother, who had rolled his eyes at my vacation posts, sent me a meme about finally growing a spine, which I saved for posterity. By the end of the week, we had a kind of tentative peace. Mom hugged me tightly before I left, whispering, "I guess we were wrong to expect so much. I'm sorry." Dad just nodded, his usual stoic self, muttering, "Proud of you, son." Even my sister gave me a small smile as she waved goodbye. I walked out of that hotel, luggage in hand, sand stuck between my toes, the salty breeze lifting my hair, and thought, finally, a vacation that's actually mine. Update 1. Text from Mom. "Everyone's talking about the dinner story. You were white. We owe you an apology. We'll do better next time." My reply. "Thanks, Mom. Boundaries equals happiness. Who knew?" Update 2. Sister's Instagram DM. "Delete that screenshot you took of my passive-aggressive post. I look ridiculous." Me replying, "Kept it for posterity. Don't worry, no one's laughing harder than me." Update 3. By mid-August, even extended family had heard about the Myrtle Beach saga. Comments like, "Finally he stood up for himself," and "Good on him for taking his own vacation," flooded my notifications. I didn't gloat, but there was a quiet satisfaction in knowing my little rebellion had earned a reputation. Finally, not as the family's servant, but a man with limits. Update 4. 3 months later, my parents called to plan Thanksgiving. This time, I booked my own flight and my own hotel room. Mom sighed, a little embarrassed. "Can you just come for dinner, not for everything?" I laughed. Deal. But the kids? Totally your problem. And just like that, a pattern had shifted. I wasn't the default babysitter or handyman anymore. I was still family, still involved, but now on my own terms. And honestly, it felt like the best gift I'd ever given myself. If you liked the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.